So the next Emir of Al-Andalus would be called Muhammad, and he would rule for approximately 34 years. And many things can be said about his time. However, of particular importance was certain rebellions that he had to put down and the way that he dealt with these rebellions. So if you remember from before, there was a class of people called Muwallad, and the Muwallad were people of either mixed ancestry. They were either half Arab, half Iberian, or half Berber and half Iberian, or fully Iberian but Muslim. So the Muwallad, they were all Muslim. However, especially in the city of Toledo, the Muwallad were not happy with Muhammad I, and so they revolted, and Muhammad had to put down this revolt, which he did successfully, but he wanted to stop further revolts, and he came up with a plan. He thought he would build another city to the north of Toledo to stop the Muwallad communicating with the Catholic states in the north, because the Muwallad had sought the help of the Catholic states in the north in their rebellion against him. So he would build a new city, and he would call this new city Mayrit. So behind me are the original walls of this city called Mayrit, and as you can see, because they were built in the 800s, they're pretty old. They've been excavated apparently in the last 30 or 40 years. But this city, Mayrit, would eventually go on to be known as Madrid, as the Spanish call it today. So the first man to found the city of Madrid was actually Muhammad I. As you can imagine, when making a city, they would not only build city walls, but obviously Muslims would need a mosque. So the first mosque in Madrid was built just behind these walls, and actually, if you see it now, it's actually a cathedral now. So they eventually, when years and centuries down the line, when the Catholics took back these lands, they destroyed the mosque and they built a cathedral in its place. However, the name of this cathedral is Cathedral al-Mudina, which apparently comes from an Arabic word called Mudaina. So even though the mosque is no more, but its name is still Arabic in origin. So the next time you think of the city of Madrid, think of a city that was built by Muslims, whose name is Arabic in origin, and was founded by a man called Muhammad. Emir Muhammad also had rebellions to put down in the Extremadura region, which is to the west of Córdoba and consists of the cities of Mérida and Badajoz. He also had rebellions to put down in the south. You may remember from the last episode that there was mass conversions of Catholics to Islam, leading to the number of Muslims and Catholics being very similar on the peninsula. So you might be asking yourself, when these people converted to Islam and they lived in an Islamic state under an Islamic ruler, why were they rebelling against their Muslim ruler? What for? The problem for the Umayyad rulers, with so many people becoming Muslim, there was less people to pay the jizya tax, which was a tax which was paid by every non-Muslim male within an Islamic state. That meant less income. Also, now that these muwallad were now Muslim, they wanted more political rights, and no ruler wants to give their subject population more rights. So this was a big problem for Muhammad, and that's why he had so many rebellions put down, because he didn't give them their rights and he kept on charging the jizya tax for them. So north of Al-Andalus, south of Al-Andalus, west of Al-Andalus, he had to go to work putting down these rebellions. It's quite ironic when you think about it. The capital city of Spain, Madrid, was built by Muslims because too many people were converting to Islam, too many people were becoming Muslims, and this was causing a problem for the Muslim ruler, so he had to build a new city to stop these new Muslims from rebelling, and it eventually became Madrid, capital of Spain. When Amir Muhammad, the founder of Madrid, died, he was replaced by his son, who was called Al-Mundhir. However, he only lived for 2 years and died very soon after that. So another son of Muhammad, the founder of Madrid, came to the throne, and he was called Abdullah. And if we described the relationship between Abdurrahman al-Dakhil, the first ruler of independent Al-Andalus, if we describe his relationship with Al-Andalus like a lock and a key, we could only describe the relationship between Amir Abdullah and Al-Andalus like a square peg and a round hole. Amir Abdullah was not a capable ruler. He found it very hard to manage the competing factions within Al-Andalus, and therefore many regions started to break off. One man known as Umar ibn Hafsun, who was a Muwallad Muslim, started a rebellion in the south, and he managed to take many mountain fortresses, and as a result many of the Muwallad in the south rallied around him. In the year 889 AD, Seville broke away from the central government in Córdoba, led by Amir Abdullah, and in the year 891 AD, Córdoba itself was attacked, but the attack was unsuccessful. All these internal problems led to a weakening of the Umayyad Emirate and allowed the Catholic states in the north to take some land and come further south. But this expansion came at a cost, because it produced internal disputes between them, and therefore they broke up into two new states, Leon and Castile. And people in Castile speak the Castilian dialect, which eventually became what we now know as Spanish. So what does Castile mean? Castile means the land of the castles, and obviously it has many castles. Why did they build all these castles? To defend themselves against the attacks from the Muslims in the center and the south. These smaller states in the north, Leon, Castile and a few others, would play a very important role in the affairs in the Iberian Peninsula for the next 600 years. If you want to know more about how they fared with the Muslims, make sure you subscribe to the channel and press the bell notification so you don't miss any upcoming episodes. With all these internal and external problems, Amir Abdullah did not look good in front of his subject population, especially when they compared him to the previous rulers of the past who were far more capable and far more successful. And he started to fear for his own position. And when a state is run in a dynastic fashion, the challenge to your throne normally comes from within your own family. Therefore, Amir Abdullah was very suspicious of his own sons and suspicious that they might do a coup over him. Therefore, he had 2 of his own sons executed. The problem with killing your own sons is that you're left with no heirs. And if a dynasty has no heirs, then the dynasty ends automatically. So Amir Abdullah was faced with a problem. What would he do to continue his dynasty in Al-Andalus? And he decided to take his grandson and groom him to be the next ruler. This grandson was actually the son of someone he'd murdered. So Amir Abdullah murdered his own son, and he took that person's son and made him the heir apparent. Amir Abdullah had made mistake after mistake after mistake over a period of 24 years, and Al-Andalus was in a lot of problems. But would this next decision to take a young boy and make him your heir apparent and next ruler, would that be the only decision that he got right? This young man would go on to be called Abdurrahman III. And if you want to know what happened to him, make sure you tune in and watch the next episode in the history of Al-Andalus.